guys ever wonder if you made the best decision regarding your vehicle service? You just went in, you got brakes done, and they're still squeaking. You just got an oil service, an oil change done, and now your brand new car's leaking oil.
I can vouch for that.
You check engine light. Oh, we're going to talk about those check engine lights.
Oh, yeah.
It's got you really upset. You started drinking and you don't even drink. How do you deal with this? What should you ask to be better prepared? How do you make these decisions when you are dealing with confidence? Can I use confidence?
You can.
Yeah.
Both ends. A good automotive outfit, they're going to be confident, not cocky. Some of you been in there. They don't even know you. What can I help you with? Well, I'm here shopping for tomatoes. You better give me some. Hello. So we're going to go through that. And I figured we'd just start. We got a lot of ground to cover, so we're going to go through it. How, Susie, do I find a service provider that I can trust? This is a big question. Like, how do I even start with that?
Huge, yeah. So, I look at Google reviews. That's one thing that I do.
But drill down, because what are you looking for specifically?
So after I check the Google reviews, I'm looking for the positive reviews and the resolution to the car being fixed. I'm looking for how the customer service was. I'm looking for the warranty behind it. There's a few things that I think, going into a shop, you almost have to interview them too.
Agreed. What I look for when I go to a shop, just the way I am with my vehicles, is the shop clean before I even walk on the property?
Oh, yeah.
Is it inviting? Or is the shop organized? Is the equipment, the tools, is it organized? Is the staff working? Do they look confused?
Right.
That's my first glance. That's what I look at when I pull into a shop.
Yeah, if you go into a place and it's schleppy.
Can't have schleppy.
If people are not, the guy's wearing his drawers or whatever, sticking out, people got to look professional. I'm sorry, a lot of them going to get hate.
Yep.
Well, Frank, I go to a guy that's just as schleppy as you can get, but he's really good.
That is not the norm. Maybe you have a one odd case where, and that's cool. We tell you to stick with that relationship. You're happy. That's great. But if you're going for the first time to find an individual like that, it's going to be extremely rare. I agree. Google reviews, you know what I do? And I've been doing a lot lately, like with restaurants and stuff. I'm looking for the 1 stars.
Are you?
I am.
I understand that.
And I'm looking for communication.
Oh, to see if the owner replies.
If I'm coming in and the risk is that I'm not going to be happy, that's what I want to know. What are you going to do if I'm not happy?
That's a good point.
Everyone talks about how well they can do what they do. I cook the best egg roll. I want to know what if that egg roll wasn't cooked. The dude with the steering wheel missed the bolt. It was shorter than it should have been, like we talked about. What are we doing to correct that?
Right.
So I think that's a great strategy.
Oh, I agree.
Good businesses know the 1 star is an opportunity, to correct a legitimate mistake. Now, there are robots. Don't go by the 1-star robots.
Right.
Or the competitor. You guys are going to know. You're going to get a feel for that. But I want to know how they communicate with a shortcoming.
How do you handle
that's
the
a great
problem?
point. Yeah.
I agree with that.
All right, we're going to go on to the next one here. And this is you guys, may want to write this down or speak in your phone or do whatever you do. There is a process. Most reputable dealerships and automotive service providers, independents, we're biased, especially independents, sorry. They have a process that you should anticipate. And if this process is missing, that's where stuff falls apart. And we're going to give you this: complaint,
cause,
and correction. Now, some of you are saying, okay, that sounds fine. That's like industry stuff. What does that all mean? Well, you need to go in with a complaint, which you do.
Right.
Like, my car is acting up. Okay, well, that's good. Is telling the mechanic, hey, I need a ball joint on the left side. Is that a complaint?
It's a complaint with a self-diagnosis.
Opinion?
And
Well, and I've had them in the garage. Frank, I've been doing this since 1960. I'm a retired Navy SEAL and master technician. I know what I need.
yeah, but my question would be, why do you think the ball joint needs to be replaced?
Excellent.
And then we
That's
get a little
perfect.
bit more deep dive.
Right. So just remember, you listening, we want to arm you up. If you do not go in with symptoms, and hey, you know what's a cool thing? Record these symptoms where it's safe. We tell folks all the time, just record it. Because in this case, in a ball joint, we're going after, are you hearing any noise?
Right.
Or any symptoms that way. When you go to a doctor, you do not say, hey, doc, replace the left patella. No, man. What you're saying is, I wake up in the morning and it's crickety-crackety, and I feel dizzy
Right.
when I get up, right? Those are symptoms.
Right.
So that is complaint. Now, the good operation is going to take that. They send it back to the cooks in the back shop, master technicians of the universe, and they find the cause. That's the next step. What is the cause?
Right.
And ultimately the correction. So if you go in as a consumer behind the wheel into any place that gets your vehicle serviced, it's real simple. Complaint, cause, correction.
Mm-hmm.
If any of that is missing, the risk of stuff going down not happily and stuff not getting fixed
Right.
is a problem. Wouldn't you agree, Susie?
Absolutely. Absolutely. You know, it's interesting. I had a car towed in the other day, and it was at a body shop, and it would start, but it wouldn't stay started. And so this body shop told the customer, well, you need a fuel pump. And so he brought it to us, and all we did was change the oil in it because it was a Dodge Dart that when it has no oil, the dipstick was bone dry, but the oil kept it running. It was a fail-safe, basically.
You know, you bring up a good point, and a lot of you get information from whatever it is. The elevator man told you so.
Right.
Tow truck drivers. We love our tow truck drivers.
Oh, yeah.
Other shops, right? You left because maybe whatever happened. So you end up in this new facility. Do yourself a big favor, just like you would your doctor. Give that new person an opportunity to start from scratch.
Agreed.
You know, what we say all the time in the garage is, if I can save you money, trust me, I'm going to do that.
Yep.
But let's test it. And let's get, we want to talk about test fees. I guess we should talk about that now. Some of you are going to AutoZone to get a code pull. All right. Well, AutoZone offers it. You say, well, Frank, they're a multi-billion-dollar company. Don't they know what they're doing?
Yeah, who's doing the code pull is the question.
Now, I'm going to just say this, and I don't care. Give me all the hate in the world, all you parts distributors. They're in the business to move parts.
That's right.
That's it.
Now, they do want to help you, and they don't want their version of a comeback where you throw a battery in the window like the big old, like a discount tire commercial.
The tire through the window.
That's it.
They're there to help.
Yep.
I do not believe that an AutoZone, and I'll say the names, it's all good. They're most parts houses. I don't care if it's Jimmy John's parts or whatever. Louise Leadbelly's parts. Everybody wants to help because if they can earn your business that way, and they're going to have a recommendation. When you do this and you take that car and the printout to a local service center, you're setting yourself up for what do we say? What's the complaint?
Right.
You're now dictating from somewhere else. This is what we need.
Right. And that's how a lot of initial calls come in. Hey, how much for this? Right.
All I'm saying to you listening, you want to scrutinize and prices to be respected. I get it. But if you're not paying for a test, a legitimate test for a technician to evaluate the vehicle, you're setting yourself up.
Yeah, you're just guessing.
Yeah.
I agree.
Courtesy code pull. We do that in the garage.
Of course.
Why do we do it? If I have you calling me, you're 80 years old, you're retired.
I'm not that old, Frank.
I don't care if you're 20 years old and not retired. Or some of you,
You were looking at me
some
like
of you
you
20-year-olds are. Some of you 20-year-olds are retired, actually,
Some.
with your OnlyFans pages. But what I'm saying is, if you call me and you're frantic, and I'm busy, I will give you a courtesy check. It doesn't mean I'm going to give you the full-on X-ray.
Right.
I'm trying to give peace of mind. Why? Because my intent is to help set a direction.
And that's where the classy part comes in as an owner. Little courtesy.
Right.
I believe in that.
I agreed.
Now, if we roll out MRI and X-ray, and I've got my technician who's a rock star who's got to look at it, I'm going to charge you. Mm-hmm. And please be happy and send me some cakes or something. Because guess what you can do now? You can hold me accountable.
That's right.
Because I paid you, Frank. How many of you experienced bad service and it was behind the initial process? Think back to when you had bad service. It was the initial process, and that initial process was floozy. There was no fee. I don't go to a doctor and it's for free.
You don't have a free doctor?
Well, I've got to be careful. That may not be a good analogy. I have one down in Mexico.
Okay, then.
But that's a different kind of doctor.
Same one that fixes his car, too.
That's right.
Another thing that you may want to request, we talked about getting down and dirty with Google reviews and looking at 1-stars and how they communicate and just kind of getting a feel and vibe. In that method, you got to understand the inspection. A lot of you are going to get an inspection. And some of you hate it. I don't want to know what's wrong with my car.
Right.
Scared of it, yeah.
Like, I get it.
But I'd have to say majority of the people do
when it comes to an organized.
Yes.
A lot of you don't like it because you got to look at mechanic lingo.
Exactly.
And you got to read chicken scratch because it's old school inspection.
And sometimes people are intimidated and don't ask questions.
This
so
is
what
true.
I like, you can ask when you call and make an appointment, and this is how the phone call goes. How much will it cost to inspect my vehicle?
So give me the symptoms. What's going on?
I got some fluids underneath my vehicle.
Okay. Has it been leaking quite a bit?
My wife says I've been leaking quite a bit.
Are you talking dime size, quarter size?
About a dime, about
Okay.
three days now.
Okay, about 3 days. I tell you what, let's get it in so we can, throw it up on the lift, and we'll take a look at it. Sometimes it may require a clean and a dye of it, and then you drive it for a little bit, bring it back, so we can isolate that leak. But
Right. Now I don't know what you just said.
But here's another question I would ask too. Did you just get your oil service done?
Right? Loose filter.
So what do we got going on here? Whether you agree or disagree a little bit with the terminology, Susie, you probably got a good 10,000 service transactions under your belt. The bottom line is, what do you see here? There's some accommodation, but mainly what I asked was how much will it cost to inspect? Now, if I had a check engine light, it would be how much to find out what's wrong with my car. When you approach it that way, because what are you doing right now? You're saying, well, my check engine light's on. How much to fix it? We don't know.
Right.
And neither do you, and neither did the elevator man or whatnot. So please, people, I promise you will remember this and be grateful, because the whole dance from A to Z with your service will be that much better. And I liked how you just said you wanted to accommodate. Let's get it in. I wish everything in life was like that.
I know.
I wish when I waited at the restaurant, they got me in right quick. I wish I went to the doctor and it wasn't 3 weeks later. Most of your local rock star automotive service providers, and in fact, I'll even go to say to the dealer as well. Now, the dealer has other problems. They have shortcomings as well. They're trying to find people like we are. And when you're big like that, sometimes it's a bit more of a domino effect. And so, yeah, they may be a month out or 3 weeks out, and that sucks, right? Mm-hmm. Or if you're driving a Tesla, a lot of you Tesla folks, it's getting better, but you complain about that. But what did I say? I asked what it would take, what fees are associated. Should you pay a fee? Yes, you should.
Mm-hmm.
Time.
I don't care what you think. You don't work for free.
Right.
Neither does the outfit. So if you're hearing a lot of free, it's bait and switch. I'll call it for what it is.
Yep.
Now, some of you can go back in your bad service experiences. You're reflecting right now. You opened a bottle of rum. You started to take a toke of that rum. And you're saying, man, this fool is right. Because I am. Mm-hmm. When you start the date like that, you set yourself up for a problem.
Mm-hmm.
And someday I'll write a book on it.
You should.
Or get the audio recordings. I got like 40,000 taped. I wouldn't do that, but this is very important. Check engine lights are the same way. We know that a lot of you are anxious about the check engine light. Then why do we do the courtesy code pull, right? Because we want to reduce that and then figure out, okay, it's like a triage. Okay, this is what's next. This is the next test. And what I will tell you, if you've got a check engine light with no symptoms, meaning, man, that light's on, but it feels perfectly fine. Take that serious.
Right.
Allow a professional to tell you, okay, it was just a gas cap.
Right.
Because those can happen.
My check engine light's on right now
Oh, really?
for a misfire, but I don't feel no misfire.
Oh, then you're good. Well, that's good because my truck leaks and I have no lights on. So
There you go.
there we go. We're balanced
Look
out.
at us. We're a car talk show.
Well, I mean, that's you can't blame people at the same time. Life is happening, and they're like, well, it doesn't feel different or sound different.
Right.
I'll just put some black tape over it. I've seen that in the garage.
I have a zip tie and some duct tape. We're good.
So think about that. I will tell you that I advise you. Most good places will also have a digital inspection. I want to go back to that because that's critical. And why is that critical? Wouldn't you want to know what's not broken or what needs to keep an eye on? Some of that happens. Like, right now we're just seeing some typical mileage pattern wear, but we'd like to get you back in and so. You'd like to know that because now you're developing a game plan. Would you like to know if you took a road trip? It happens often to us in the garage where we said your brakes were fine. And then you go over to whatever, California, wherever you're at, Florida, and then you hear some brake noise, and you take it into a place, and they say, hey, you need $1,500 in brakes.
Right.
Now, you guess who you're mad at? Mad at us.
Yep.
And we welcome those phone calls because guess what we do? We go back to the playbook.
Right.
We look at the pictures of what brakes actually looked like. And then we find you a place that we know of, because most good shops are going to have a national network. And I'm going to get you in the right hands because somebody was trying to sell you brakes. So that digital inspection that you get a text message, some of you are receiving that, whether you're at the dealer or you're already getting that. That's a win.
It is a win.
And if you're not, if you're a service provider, you're saying, well, that's too fancy. I can't get with that. Well, it's not about you, man.
Yeah. Because I do have a lot of customers that will say, well, this is a picture of this, but I don't see what you're talking about.
Right.
You can't attach a known good and a known bad.
Mm-hmm.
And that just opens up dialect. And when we open up communication like that, what are we doing? We're really working hard for trust and transparency. We
Right.
want you to know, and those are great questions.
Mm-hmm.
But if I just called you up and said, well, your brakes are shot.
Yeah.
Right.
How many of you heard that? Your brakes are shot. Well, I'm glad you gave me that technical
I'm
explanation.
surprised you survived getting here.
Well, you said it earlier. We're just going to throw your car up
Yeah.
on the lift.
That's right.
If I had no clue to what you just said, I was like, what are you
We're gonna
throwing
throw
my
it
car? Where? Which I guess can happen. That's shop vernacular. How about prioritizing vehicle repair? Some of you are stunned, right, Susie?
Yep.
So a good roadmap is 3 easy things to remember. Certainly write it down. If it's safety, do I want to know about it? Yes.
Of course.
Absolutely.
If it's could cost me more money later, do I want to know about it?
Of course.
Yes. Preventative.
And if it's teeth cleaning maintenance, do I want to know about that?
Of course.
Now, how would I prioritize? Obviously, safety. If it's brake related and it's safety, for sure.
Safety's always first. What can leave you stranded?
Fuel leaks.
Right.
I've had people in the garage. Oh, that fuel's been leaking like that for a long time.
Yeah, no big deal.
Hey, some states, they have to write up a whole legal thing. Like if you come in the garage and it's a safety and you leave unsafe.
Oh, disclaimers.
Yeah.
I've had to do that.
Right. And some of you be like, oh, you don't know that's been leaking.
Yeah.
Like, well, we got to do what we got to do.
Yeah.
Right.
I mean, if I'm on drugs and go to the doctor
Frank.
and he fixes me, he's going to let me know, hey, just so you know, drugs aren't good for you.
That's right.
I mean, if you got a fuel leak, we're going to let you know. Am I right? Was that a bad analogy?
We'll move on.
No comment.
Now, if you said to me, my serpentine belt, which is a rubber belt, has 1 or 2 cracks, let's re-examine it. That's on the schedule.
Mm-hmm.
Correct.
So some of you are saying, well, that's the problem, Frank. They always tell me I need a belt. Well, what could I say to that? Well, I'd invite you into the garage, or I would revert back to the playbook of that digital inspection and show you. Mm-hmm. Worst case, I'll Amazon you the belt.
Right.
This is your actual belt.
Right.
But the more you ask regarding, do I need this today? Start thinking, is this safety? Because that's what a good place will tell you. Mm-hmm. Yes, it's in your best interest. It's safety related. That's organized. Oil leaks come up a lot. A lot of you have vehicles that leak oil and you keep oil in it. Now you go into a garage, they take the oil leaks serious. Why?
Yeah.
Because if you leave, I don't care if they adjusted a mirror or an antenna. If you leave and the engine blows the next day, you're liable to call, hey, I had my mirror adjusted. Now my engine don't work. So they'll take that serious.
Right.
And if you're going to keep your vehicle, you should too. Now, some of you are not going to keep a vehicle. Maybe continue just keeping oil in it. Maybe it's not worth the investment.
Mm-hmm.
But oil leaks are the kind of thing where you should take serious, even if you feel like it hasn't been a problem, because it just takes that one day.
Yep.
And you said it. We've had it in the garage.
Oh, yes.
I mean, we've like I've had people coming in for years, and every time they visit, oil leak. I even get to the point, hey, do you not like us? We've been recommending an oil leak. Do you not like me? Is my bathroom not squared away? And people just, and then the next day, it's like it becomes a problem.
Yeah, but to that note with maintenance and the digital inspection, this is one thing I want to bring up, because if you're the consumer that doesn't have trust in your mechanic yet, and you get an oil change here and you get an oil change there, if you're going to a mechanic that does that digital inspection, your next oil change in 5,000 to 6,000 miles is going to give you another digital inspection, so you can kind of see the progress.
That's relationship. You're comparing notes. We want to be kept honest. Look, that's the fact. A lot of great places, okay, including dealership departments and stuff, they want to be kept honest. But what works really difficult is when we only have price to work with, because I get it. We want to be fair, but there's a reason why we charge what we charge. And if you're the mechanic that does the side work on the weekend, it'll never be cheap enough.
Right.
So this conversation is not for you. However, we welcome you in our place because you're going to need us someday.
Right.
Right? And we'll charge you double. All right. I'm just being silly. Give me the hate. All right, Susie, my fluids, they told me my fluids need to be flushed.
Well, fluids do break down over time.
They do.
They absolutely do, and they should be looked at every 30 to 50,000 miles.
Always revert back to the owner's manual, and some of you will see two separate categories. Normal. Well, that's me. I'm normal. And then severe duty. Most of you are running around severe duty, which means high temperature, low temperature. Stop and go.
Dust.
I mean, dust.
Yeah.
All of that's in there. So think about fluids, which is I like, and this is how we advise. If you've got to put it on a plan, do it. Now, if you haven't touched it since 1970, like it needs, and transmissions are, we're not going to get knee deep in that. I mean, you get to a point of no return with transmission fluid. If you've highly neglected it, you can introduce new problems.
Right.
That's a fact. And in fact, some of these newer vehicles now, they're dipstickless. They don't want you messing around.
I know that.
Right? And so you go in there a weekend, where's my training fluid? Dang it, they forgot to put the dipstick. No. And you're seeing more of that. In fact, you see as well as engine oil dipsticks on some of these. I can think of some of the European platforms. But the thing about fluid flushes is this. If you're going to teeth clean your teeth, that's how you avoid cavities. So fluids over time, they do degrade to keep you from expensive hardware, power steering units, that rear differential or that front differential, right? All your four-wheel drive, your transfer cases.
Important.
You know, you forget to do that, and then you develop a whine, and it was just gritty, grainy, old fluid. So most good shops will tell you, hey, put it on a plan.
Right.
You know, now if you go in and it's you're 20,000 miles out of what the recommended interval for change is, they're going to put an emphasis. Why wouldn't they? Because if you develop a problem and you come back, well, why didn't you tell me?
Right.
So always keep that in mind, but get back to that safety. Is it needed today? Could this cost me more money later? And then always kind of put that maintenance as in, okay, well, if it's not dire today, I can put that on a plan. And that's a roadmap.
Yep.
What am I missing?
Nothing.
I think, yeah.
Set up a plan and stick to it.
Yep.
Did they give me good candy? That's a requirement.
Oh my gosh, I love the chocolate on the counter.
Everybody likes good candy.
Absolutely. Can I bring up one more point though?
Yes.
There's two things that we need to be careful of. When the recommendation of power steering flush should be done or a cabin air filter should be replaced, some vehicles don't come with a cabin air filter.
Yeah.
And some vehicles have electronic power steering. So there is no service, right?
Yeah, and you know, let's say you're that individual that ended up in a place that told you needed both. That's mud on face, for sure. I'm being very transparent. It's happened to in our garage.
Yes.
You know, my 3-year guy is not my 15-year guy. Now, I got a problem in my garage. That means that we have missed out on our procedures in that back shop. So you're going to come back, mud on face Frank, mud on face Susie, and say, hey, you tried to sell me this and I don't even have it. You're a ripoff and you're a con.
Right.
And guess what I got to do? I got to stand there and take it.
Yep.
And I'll probably lose you. Now I'm going to try to save you and admit my mistake, and this is what I'm going to do to correct it. But if you fired me, I have to accept that.
Yep. Agreed.
But dang it, I'm going to have a sit down in the back shop. It can happen. Now, some of you are saying, well, I'm just not hardcore like that. They made an honest mistake.
Sure.
That's part of a relationship.
It is.
It really is.
Yep.
How many of you got divorced 18 times over in the last year? Had you, right? People make mistakes. Now, we have to be professional. We can't have a if this is a pattern, then I love you to death, Mr. Owner of the business, but I'm worried. What if they forget, to tell me about my brakes?
Yeah.
That's how consumers think, and you got to
Right.
respect that.
Yep. Agreed.
You gave me a bad review. I'm going to have to reply to that.
Yeah.
That's what I'm looking for as a new consumer. How do they handle their shortcomings?
Mm-hmm.
Agreed.
So that's a good point. I like that. Batteries are good. Typically, I want to just cover this. We got about one more minute.
Hey,
Batteries.
I have something to add before that.
Please.
Well, I don't want to get you off topic.
No, do it. We got 1 minute.
Okay. Well, 1 minute. I received my Wrench Nation Fireball. Official coloring book.
Oh, I keep forget. Hey, we got a coloring book, people.
Oh yeah, it is an amazing magazine, and this is all you.
So this, just so you know, this is it's a bunch of artists. What we did is we came out with this adult coloring book. Now I say adult. Everybody that can color is included.
Right.
I mean, it's safe. It's not like it's rated R. But we took the automotive and music industries, meshed them, and we got, who do we got? I got to read this off. Wrench Nation
And hey,
coloring
By
book.
the way, I need an official autograph on the cover.
We're going to autograph this. No problem. Shout out to Fireball. You got Bruce Springsteen's 1960 Corvette. You can color that.
Yep. You got Snoop's Caddy in there too.
Snoop's Caddy.
Ooh.
Hey, and we had this car in the garage.
Oh.
Lou Rawls, 87 Zimmer Golden Spirit.
Yep.
Yep.
You can color that.
I remember that.
So where can you find this book? You can get on to wrenchnation.tv. We have a little clickable thing. It's inexpensive.
Yep.
There's some charity tied behind it.
And I bought mine off Amazon under Fireball.
Under Fireball,
Oh,
right.
awesome.
So we'll have that in show notes, but the official Wrench Nation coloring book, Cars and Music Collector's Edition.
I love it.
That's awesome.
I need your signature on the front of it though.
Yep.
Fireball's going to kill me because I keep forgetting to...
Dang it, you got a radio show. Let the people know.
Frank, 5 seconds. What about the battery?
Battery, people, don't take it lightly. It'll start every day, and then bam, it doesn't start, and you got to take kids to school. In our town here in the Southwest, Phoenix included, any hot area, in fact, the whole country, 2 to 3 years is what I'll tell you. 2 to 3 years, batteries. Now, some of you get lucky and it's 4 to 5, but you want to make sure that every time a technician or mechanic looks at your vehicle, they look at that battery. Why? Because it's aggravating. You don't have AAA, it costs you tow. You work at late. You're late at work, and you've been late to work for the last week. You can't. This is an official excuse. You can't use it.
That's right.
So that battery is important. Make sure you check it, as well as all the rubber on your vehicle, tires as well. Make sure that they're checked, even if you don't think you have a problem with that. So I hope these tips helped.
I think they're amazing tips.
We're going to hear from you. We may have missed a few things, and maybe you do things differently. We'd like to hear from you, both our automotive shop owners and technicians out there. You guys rock. Let's make this conversation better and help as many people as we can. Get on to wrenchnation.tv. Under the show, you'll see comments. Get in there. Catch us on Twitter, Facebook, the whole nine. Thank you, Mr. Greg Ovis. Always a pleasure.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me.
Susie Sockets, you rock.
I love being here.
It's great having you back.
Amazing. Thank you for tuning in every week, people. And as I tell you every week, be safe, hug each other, and never forget to hug a mechanic.